Good evening. I'm Hayden Steves, and you're watching the Weekend Update. On tonight's episode, we will answer the all too relevant question of have you ever, even once, used any prescription drugs when they were not prescribed for you and took them only for the way that they made you feel? If your answer is yes, then this just might be your intervention. Now joining me is ex-drug misuser and pharmacist Daniel Wren. Daniel, can you provide a bit more information on the topic of college student drug misuse and why it's so important?
Hi Hayden, thanks for having me. While this may be a hard pill to swallow, prescription drug misuse continues to be a rising concern among college-age students in the United States. Previous research has found that set and setting, as well as overall acceptance of the recreational use of prescription drugs, has been found to heavily influence peers and social learning. Recently, my team examined this further and explored the relationship between college-age students' knowledge on the risks and safety of prescription drugs and how knowledge correlates to their own personal consumption of recreational prescription drug use. Initially, we hypothesized that students who identified as drug misusers would have a lesser knowledge of the risks and safety of prescription drugs, and that students who do not misuse prescription drugs would have an understanding of the risks associated with drug misuse. Our research question was, have you ever used prescription drugs which you were not prescribed recreationally?
No, why would you assume that of me? Oh wait, for that, yeah, how interesting. How did you and your team go about with this experiment?
Now, allow my intern, Tabitha, to explain the question. Take it away, Tabitha.
Using a traditional survey, we randomly selected a group of 25 college students. Because all participants had to be exposed to every condition, our study had a within-subjects design. The independent variable was the participants' response to whether prescription drug misuse was reported or not reported, which created our yes and no levels. This then formed our control group, which was students who report not having misused prescription drugs. The dependent variable in our study was the participants' score on their knowledge of the safety and risks of prescription drugs.
Next, we set an independent t-test with an alpha level of 0.05. The mean value students scored on the survey for the misusers was 0.6667, with a standard deviation of 0.5. Meanwhile, the average score for students who did not identify as drug misusers scored at 0.6875, with a standard deviation of 0.4787. This data suggests that the difference between the two means in standard deviations is not significant because it was within 2 standard deviations from the mean. The data indicates also that the mean knowledge toward prescription drugs was not significantly different between the groups of users and non-drug misusers. Our t-score was 0.103 and our p-value was 0.919. In some more rudimentary English, we found that the knowledge on prescription drugs does not have a significant impact on whether or not a college student is more or less likely to misuse drugs, making us reject our null hypothesis.
Now time to discuss. Similar to our group's myth, researchers in 2013 sought to answer the research question, have you ever, even once, used any of the following: pain pills, tranquilizers, or stimulants when they were not prescribed for you or that you took only for the experience or feeling it caused? When my group read this past experiment, we knew how much drug misuse impacted college students and sought to explore the topic further. While we were hoping for a different answer, our data failed to reject our alternative hypothesis that drug knowledge has no impact on drug misuse. Our study implies that no drug education is needed, as college students who misuse drugs do not take their knowledge into account when consuming unprescribed medications. We had some limitations, especially in our measurement. Since our survey was self-reported data, our participants may not have been truthful in their responses. Additionally, our survey only took 25 of about 50,000 students at UT into account and was limited to psychology majors. Regardless, our data and results suggested that there does not exist a correlation between drug misuse and
Daniel, is there anything else you think the audience ought to know?
Nope, I think that's it.
Well, thank you both for coming this evening. You stay classy, Sam.